In this video, I'm going to teach you how to get longer stays in your vacation rental, even more monthly stays. It's been commonly believed that monthlies are more passive, but short-term stays are more profitable. And in this video, I'm going to show you that that's a myth. You can actually make more profit on monthly stays than you might have made scrapping for smaller bookings. See, I have over 100 properties on Airbnb, and I have a lot of housekeepers to manage. So having longer stays and more monthly stays, or at least a good percentage of them, helps me run my business because I need less staff. It's a huge factor. And by the end of this video, I'm going to give you a crazy fact about the monthly housing market that will help you, again, get more monthly stays. This is Sean Rocky Geach, Airbnb Automated, and let's talk about long-term vacation rental stays. Welcome back, Airbnb family. So this video is going to be broken down into a few parts. First off, why longer stays? We're going to talk about all the reasons why you might want longer stays instead of shorter stays. Then we're going to talk about how to get them. First, we're going to talk about amenities. What kind of amenities are good for longer stays? What people actually want when they're staying more than just a few days. We're going to talk about copywriting, how your description should be written to get more longer stays. And we'll talk about pricing strategy as one of the main ways to also increase the length of stays that you have. All of these are factors, know them all, and you will get longer bookings. So like this video, share with your host friends, and let's jump in. So why longer stays? There's a couple main reasons why I prefer longer stays than shorter stays. Recently, because of all the parties that have been thrown on Airbnb because of coronavirus, I think the first one's very much obvious. People who stay for 2 months aren't throwing ragers on the weekends. So your home is less likely to be victimized by a party, people just disrespecting your home. Yes, Airbnb made parties illegal, but that still has not helped. We had to kick out a party this weekend in Philadelphia, all the same. It still happens. Airbnb doesn't have it under control yet. So longer stays mean less likelihood that somebody's going to be a consistent rager and you're not going to have problems with your neighbors every weekend. Number two is it's more passive. See, with 1 or 2 properties, you may not notice this, but as you begin to grow, the number of guests checking in per day requires a certain amount of work. There's turnover. Housekeepers have to clean. That place needs inventory restocking. Those guests need help checking in. Those guests might have issues immediately after check-in or the very next day when they check in, needing some extra stuff. There's going to be a settling in time for every single guest that you have. Additionally, there's greater risk that there's going to be problems during checkout, somebody not checking out on time, forgetting to return the keys, parking passes, etc. I say, in my experience, that the risk of somebody making a mistake in a 3-day stay is likely the same risk as in a 2-week-long stay. And to build on this, we've noticed that Sundays are our heaviest cleaning day. Most people check out on Sundays. So if you can have longer term stays that overlap those main days, like for us on Sundays, if we have stays that stay through Sunday, that means we have less of a workload spike on Sundays, which means we need less total housekeepers on standby to work on Sunday. And what's important for this too is, like, when you get big like me, you want to give your employees or your housekeepers, contractors consistency. So if they only can come into work on Sunday, they're not going to exactly be loyal to your business. You want to give them good, consistent work throughout the whole week. So having a spike of housekeeping on Sunday means you need extra part-time staff along with your full-time staff. Now, we cover more of this stuff, like real deep stuff, in my full course, but just know that managing your vendors and your contractors can be assisted through longer-term stays. Next, here's how it's possible that you can actually make more money on a long-term stay than on a shorter stay. And if you hosts share my experiences here, I would love to hear your stories in the comments. So that way the rest of the host community watching this video can see that long-term stays actually make a good amount of money. So if you get a long-term stay, that guarantees you occupancy for every single date filled on your calendar. Now, we especially like this during slow season where we have to lower our rates more in order to get full. If I can lower my rates ahead of time and get a 2-month-long stay in a slow season where everybody else in the community is struggling to get 50% or 60% occupancy, if I can give away a good fair rate for 2 months straight and just lock that reservation in, I can guarantee that I'm going to make $600 or $800 in profit per month on that monthly stay because of the mechanics of monthly stays and the fact that I don't have to pay a housekeeper to come in clean 6 or 8 times. See, during slow season or when you have to drop your prices, you're going to have your housekeeping fee, then you're going to have the money on top and you get to keep that stuff. And if you don't charge a lot or enough above your housekeeping fee, you're really not putting much towards all of your base costs like rents or utilities. And so your end of the month profit could be much lower because even though you made $2,600 at the end of the month, just like I did, I only had to pay my housekeeper once and you had to pay your housekeeper like 10 times. See, and so now your cost in the middle goes up because of the frequency that somebody was traveling for a lower cost. So if you preemptively give somebody a better rate on a monthly stay, you can become more profitable than having to fight to get bookings and having some empty days, because some empty days during the month will lower your average nightly rate because your average nightly rate is how much money you made for the whole month divided by the days in the month. So if you were full half the month at $100 a day, your average nightly rate is $50 because half of your month was unbooked. Now let's talk about how to get these monthly stays. So there are a few key amenities that you absolutely have to have for people to want to stay at your place longer term, because longer term people have needs that short term people don't have. So for example, parking. I don't care if you're in a big city, if you want more monthly stays, you need to come up with a parking solution and advertise parking as included with the stay. Next thing you know, somebody who drove into town for a business contract is staying for a couple months, needs a place for their car, and for them, they'll book your place because you have parking. That's a big deal. Next is laundry. You either have to provide laundry service or provide washer and dryer in your complex or in your home. Now this is important because anybody staying more than a few days is going to want to wash their socks. It's just going to be that case. And if you don't provide laundry, you become way less of a likely candidate for a monthly stay because there are so many places out there that have washers and dryers. So it's going to be important that you have that as a bare minimum offering to get your monthly stays. Third, you need to stock up on linens, towels, all the creature comforts, amenities such as like coffees and things like that. You want to make sure that that place is ready to nuzzle into. You want somebody who can, drop their luggage and not have to worry about dealing with anything aside from maybe a grocery run, in their first week. You want them to have everything that they need: toilet paper, extra towels, extra sheets, etc. So that way they can settle in and stay for a while. This is going to lead to reviews that your reviews say you're good for a long-term stay, because your guests will tell people if your place is not qualified for long-term. It'll happen. Speaking of grocery runs, you need to have a fully stocked kitchen. People who stay for longer periods of time are much more likely to cook. So if you invest more money in the kitchen out of any place, aside from the bedroom, and we've always talked about this, the bed is the #1 purchase for an Airbnb. But second, for long-term stays, stock up on kitchen stuff. Make that kitchen fully equipped for any type of chef or traveler, and that person will want to use you because they're going to feel so good about the fact that they can cook their favorite meals with the type of tools that they're used to. And that increases your long-term stays as well. And the last most prized amenity for getting monthly stays is availability. See, if you have 2 or 3 day long stays in the middle of your month, you can't get monthly stays. So you actually have to deter guests from booking short-term stays too far in advance, so that way your calendar can be open for a month to 3 months at a time in order to then get those booked. Because if you're not 100% available for the length of stay someone's looking for, you don't show up at all. So they can't ask you to bump somebody off the calendar because they can't even find you. Again, roll call. Hosts who love monthly stays, I want to hear your stories in the comments. Next, we're going to talk about how to write your listing to get more monthly stays. Now, Airbnb family, this video is sponsored by me, so I'm going to put a little commercial here in this video while I'm actually editing the video here. See, I put a lot of this stuff in the course, tons of it. I have the biggest course on Airbnb out to date. Now, I want to give you some perspective, and then I'll let you get back to this video, is that imagine what the course has inside of it based on what I give you for free. If you see this video, there's not a single other guru out there who can give you this type of information, and I've seen their courses. This video that you're watching, they can't even comprehend what I'm teaching you to charge you for it, and I'm giving it to you for free. So in the description, I'm gonna give you a link. You can call Alberto and talk about what's in the course, because it's extensive, there's a lot. You don't have to pay Alberto or me to talk to him. You can have a chat about the course, what's in it, see if it's right for you. But if you're serious about making more money as a host, take a look at it. But thanks for watching, and of course, let's get back to getting some more long-term stays. I brought my laptop. Let's actually go in and look at some of my titles for some of my listings, because this is going to help you understand how we pull this off. So I'm going to take a screenshot of the first one that popped up. I have got multiple monthly stays at an apartment complex in Fort Worth, and the name is Stylish Apartment Near Downtown, Ideal for Long Stays. We put it in the title, Ideal for Long Stays. And we do this with multiple units that are identical, and we just put A, B, C, or D at the end of them, so that way we and they can know that we have multiple units when they're searching. This is super helpful. Now, looking at the description for this listing, which I did not write, Haley did, but so we'll talk about what I might change here. But here's what she did really well. She wrote these newly built apartments offer the perfect combination of beautiful and convenient, right off Highway 35, directly north of downtown Fort Worth, with a spectacular view of the city line, smiley face. The high-end mattresses provide a beautiful sleep, and our professional housekeeping and management team will make you have a wonderful stay every time. So she's trying to sell consistency, quality sleep. But next, under the space is newly constructed apartment on the river just north side of Fort Worth. The property has a beautiful pool and gym, wonderful and new appliances, and a thoughtfully decorated interior, perfect for longer stays. So what she did again is she reiterated that it's perfect for longer stays. You just need to embed this stuff into your listing, just longer stays, longer stays. Now, what I would do with this listing that we've done with other ones is I'd make a bullet pointed list of all the amenities that we offer, like fast Wi-Fi, fully stocked kitchen, stuff like that, and put that all in an easy to read and kind of a fun way so that when somebody's scrolling through your listing, they'll see that. But did you know, description or not, that the photos are the most important part? See, 6 out of every 10 Airbnb travelers, the first thing that they do is they scroll through the photos. They don't even read anything. So let me show you another property. I'm gonna do another screenshot here. This is in Richardson, and as you can see, 3 of the 4 have longer stays in them. And let's talk about the photos as per why people choose to stay in this property long term. In these photos, you'll see that the cover photo for this specific listing is a gym. And then inside of our photo reel, we show the outside of the space, we show the pool, we show the gym, we show that it's next to a Whole Foods, that shows that we're close to a grocery store that somebody might want to shop at. That's important too. This one I'm pulling up is another one in City Line, and it has a super long-term stay. We're talking like 4 months plus on this one. So let's look at the photos for this. We lead with the photo of the living room, not a big deal, but it's one of our most vibrant photos. It pops a little bit more than the rest of our photos. And we did like a blue and yellow theme, and I really like the theme, so we led with that. Again, we show photos of the pool, gym, etc., but this one has comprehensive photos of the kitchen. We're talking about pots and pans out on the stove. We're showing the cutlery, the wine glasses, the coffee station. We're showing all those things in the photos, so that way that stuff doesn't get missed. And that's been extremely important for longer term stays. Now, of course, you have to do good with the regular amenities like an ironing board and an iron and all the other things that you think are actually important. But again, focus on long-term amenities that some people may or may not have and offer those as a way to be competitive against other hosts for longer stays. Now, finally, let's talk pricing strategy for longer stays. So there's really 2 parts of pricing strategy here that I need you to understand if you want to get more long-term stays. One is you need to know what people are really willing to pay by the week or by the month in your neighborhood, because there's going to be a supply for monthly stays and you have to be in there somewhere inside the competitive bracket for monthly stays in order to have a good consistent amount of them. Because monthly travelers, they're not the ones that tend to want to like go get something more luxury than normal for a monthly stay. They're looking for somewhere to live, and most people when they're looking for somewhere to live, they're highly cost conscious. So monthly stays, people are more cost conscious. So you need to find a way to get into the price range, and per city this changes, and then you need to set that as like your base rate minus monthly. And so let me show you in a screenshot here, our base rate minus monthly here for the one that has the photos of the kitchen. It's $101 a night plus weekend rate, which is probably about $140 a night, maybe even just slightly more. And then a 28% discount on monthly. So what this does for us is if somebody wants to book on the weekend, they have to pay $140 a night on the weekends plus the cleaning fee. So a 2-night stay is a little over $300. But if somebody wants to book by the month, they're paying about $80 a night, which is $2,400 per month to stay here. And we've noticed that in this area of Dallas, after fees and everything, if our reservation cost is under $26.50 per month, we get a lot of monthly stays in this area of our portfolio. So knowing that number that we need to come down to is important, and then inflating your prices to prevent shorter stays, and then using your monthly and weekly discounts to get down to the competitive rates, that's how you get that locked in. Because if you just offer $80 a night across the board, people will book for 3 days, and then 5 days, and then book through the weekend, and they'll cover your dates, and you won't be able to get a monthly stay at $80 a night because the 3-day or 4-day long stays are going to prevent that. So that's the key to pricing strategy. Let me close this. So now this is the cool thing that I want to talk to you about. The monthly stay market. So there are corporate housing companies that do this professionally. What they do is they go find a customer, like a business that's willing to pay for monthly stays, and then they go find an apartment complex, and then they go sign a lease for the length of that stay. Now, 4-month-long leases that corporate housing companies pick up are more expensive than regular monthly leases. So in a market where the monthly lease for a 1-bedroom is $1,500 a month, they're paying like $1,800 a month for the monthly, maybe even as high as $2,000 per month. Then they rent the furniture for $200 to $400 a month, and then they add cost of utilities, $150, $250 a month for internet, cable, electricity, and then they add $1,000 a month in profit. So normal corporate housing companies that offer monthly stays are taking regular rent plus $500, plus $250, plus $400. That's like over $1,150 right there, plus $1,000. So they're collecting $3,600 a month on a $1,500 per month apartment. $1,500 if it was a year-long lease. So by signing like long-term leases or by owning your home, your holding cost is much, much lower. So you should believe that you can get monthly stays in your market, because if there are corporate housing companies out there doing it, you can do a better job too. You should not rely on Airbnb for your monthly stays. You should widen your net and get more. You should get on VRBO, Facebook Marketplace. There's travel nurse websites. There's one called Kigo. We got some monthly stays off of Kigo as well. You should have your own direct booking platform, and then you should do outbound calls. Start calling companies that house traveling nurses, that do relocation, recruitment, all of it. And just go put in more work to get those monthly stays if you want them. Because if you go out and find them and sell the deal, you can sell it at a greater markup, because they didn't come to the marketplace and compare prices. You sold them on you without price comparison. You sold them on convenience. So ladies and gentlemen, that's how the monthly market works. I encourage you get on Airbnb, VRBO, Facebook Marketplace, and identify what those monthly prices are to stay competitive. They change per platform. And then find out what corporate housing companies are charging for monthly stays, and start to develop a comprehensive pricing strategy to get your listings more long-term stays. Then go in and rewrite your listings. Talk about long-term stays in your title, your description. Add the photos that show you have those key long-term amenities that keep people to want to stay with you. Even show a photo of the parking space if you're in a city that people don't typically believe that there's dedicated parking. Prove it in the photos. And then of course, be an awesome host. Don't suck. Be nice to your guests, get good reviews, and you'll get lots of long bookings. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.